wharf. Azuba follows, stumbling as she looks back. Perhaps one day she, too, will be rowed out to a ship, if not with her parents, then as a wife. This is not a fantasy that she conjures up. It is part of her, like the splintery boards beneath her feet, or the smell of tarred marlin. When Azuba and father return home, mother is where they had left her, sitting at her spinning wheel. After she has been sent to bed, Azuba kneels at her window. She presses her forehead to the cold glass, makes blinders with her hands. There's nothing to be seen, only blackness. Somewhere out there is the captain's family. She climbs into bed, pulls up the quilt. She lies listening to the sea's rhythmic roar, unchanged by darkness. It makes her feel loose, peaceful, as if she's become as large as the wind. She drifts to sleep, picturing Mrs. Shaw, skirt and scarf snapping like sails. Part 1. Whelan's Cove. 1. Noah's Ark. It was the 5th year of her marriage, when her child, Carrie, was 4 years old. The bleeding began in the privy. Azuba wiped herself with a square of newspaper and found a red gout. She ripped newsprint from the nail. More blood came, thick, flecked with black strands. She mopped. She stood, bent with pain, settled her hoops, petticoat and skirt. Wind snatched the door from her hand. She left it unhooked, gathered her cloak across her breast. The house loomed against a gray sky, the path a pale string in the headland grass. Blood surged, trickled down her legs. She began to run, one arm clasping her belly. "Hush now, could have been worse," the midwife said. "You were only 4 months." She set a tin basin on the floor by Azuba's bed, stooped and gathered the rags. "Baby's gone, but there'll be more bleeding. Stay still." Azuba lay flat on her back, listening to the midwife's steps going down the stairs. Mother was in the kitchen, feeding Carrie her supper. Soon the whole town would know. "Azuba Bradstock lost a child," people would murmur. "Years before she'll have another chance." The next time she went into the village, women would lower their voices, clasp her wrist, touch her shoulder. Such a pity. She rolled her head sideways to gaze at the candle flame. "Nathaniel. Oh, Nathaniel, my beloved." She pictured her husband reading the letter she had recently sent. Perhaps he'd been in Cape Town, where he'd planned to stop for provisions. There he sits, she thought, at the roll-top desk in Traveller's Saloon, holding the letter over a mess of business papers. She pictured his fingers smoothing his mustache, wide mouth bent downward, studying her words. His eyes lighten, he smiles, he reads the letter again. Then he folds it, tucks it into its envelope, presses it to his heart. February 6, 1861, Whelan's Cove, New Brunswick. Dear Nathaniel, I am with child. Carrie is excited to think she will have a brother or a sister. Oh, my darling, if only you could be home for this child's birth. Nathaniel had left 6 months after their wedding, and had been at sea when Carrie was born. Once he received news that he had become a father, he'd written to say that he'd be home as soon as possible. One thing, though, had led to another. A cargo of coal to Bombay, a long delay in port, a consignment across the Pacific. His letters became increasingly frustrated. Carrie had been a sturdy little girl of almost 3 when he'd finally arrived home. Azuba thought of the tiny nightgown in her workbox. It was a smocked